It is humbling for me to be before you today to join you at the 12th annual summit of the largest pro-Israel organization in the United States of America, Christians United for Israel.
What it is. You just heard the name of
It's great to be
the real power behind the president, behind Congress, in terms of the power supporting Israel. And remember, the first bill put forward by the Senate this year was an anti-BDS bill. Guess who's behind the anti-BDS movement? You know, they say it's the Jews, right? They say it's the Jews that run everything and they're responsible, and AIPAC. I have some information. It's a rabbit hole. I have a lot of video. I'm going to go through it and play it for you and comment on it. But the truth is that there are a lot more of these evangelical Christians than there are of those, the Jews. So it really might be that these people are worse. Not worse. Neither of them are bad people. But they do more for the state of Israel, the anti-BDS movement, taking away funding from the Palestinian Authority. I'm going to get into all of that and show you who's connected to it, including the Vice President of the United States. I'm your host, Nathan Stoltman. Behind me is Doshi, producing the show. He's been telling me it's the Jews for a long time, but I've been resistant, and you know what? People should pick up on this. It isn't just the Jews. This show is brought to you by a sponsor. We wouldn't be sponsored saying stuff like that if it weren't our own company, Truth Revolution Clothing. I'm wearing one of our newest designs, and the Fed, which we believe in, and Doshi is running on that platform in 2020. Truthclothing.io, that's Truth Revolution Clothing. Check it out. This is our homepage. Here you can see some of the classic designs. I showed off our Truth Matters shirt. The Russian bot shirt is still, they're still saying the yellow vests are because of Russian bots. And speaking of yellow vests, our new Revolution shirts are out. Check it out. We have women's styles too. We ship it out. 3-day shipping, free shipping in the United States with orders over $50. Truthclothing.io. It helps support the show, helps support research like this. Where should I start with these evangelical Christians? Let me give you a little bit from the founder and leader, Pastor Hagee. This is their seal. For Zion's sake, I will not keep silent.
Hello, I'm Pastor John Hagee, founder and chairman of Christians United for Israel. On behalf of CUFI, thank you for joining us as we celebrate the close bond between Christians and Jews and the absolute support of the United States of America for the state of Israel. In the last year, CUFI has made a huge impact in Washington, D.C., and the politicians and the media in both Israel and America are sitting up and taking notice of our voice. You better believe that Israel's enemies are paying attention also. Christians United for Israel now has 4.5 million active members in the United States. Never in the history of Christianity has such a massive grassroots organization existed. In 2018, after we sent more than
4.5 million members. I'm going to do my best not to get caught with copyright. Everything in this show is going to be under fair use. Believe me, there's a lot of fascinating video about this gang. 4.5 million members of CUFI, Christians United for Israel. I looked up the numbers for AIPAC, which everybody says the Israeli lobby is so powerful. The current president of AIPAC, AIPAC states that it has more than 100,000 members, 100,000 members in a vast pool of donors. We're talking about now since that video from Pastor Hagee, we're talking about, he put out another video saying they have 5 million members. 5 million members that lobby the crap out of Congress. Let me show you why these Christians are united for Israel. Here, this is from Turkish public broadcasting. It's called Evangelicals, Trump and Israel. It's a great 5-minute documentary on this. I'm just going to give you a little bit.
He stood up and he looked right at me and he pointed his finger at me, just like this. He said, "Other presidents have promised you and failed you, but I will not fail you."
And he didn't fail them. On May 14, 2018, Trump moved the U.S. Embassy from Tel Aviv to Jerusalem. This move officially recognized Jerusalem as the capital of Israel.
Donald Trump recognized history. He, like King Cyrus before him, fulfilled the biblical prophecy.
So what's the biblical prophecy they're talking about?
All the Jews in the world have to be driven from their homes in the diaspora to Israel. And once all the Jews are in Israel, then there will be some sort of final battle between good and evil.
And this is where Jesus is going to come back to. He will come and put his feet on the Mount of Olives. Right behind me is the Valley of Kidron. That's where the Battle of Armageddon is going to culminate.
Evangelicals strongly believe that the time for the final battle is coming, and they want Israel to fully control the land by driving the Palestinians out. But Israel needs money to make this happen.
All right. Boy, Israel loves Kufi. I'm going to play you a little bit more about the final battle. This is the interesting thing. The forces that run this world all believe in end times, New Age prophecy, including the QAnon cult. This research began as a result of a theory about QAnon, believe it or not. So it's fitting that I would mention QAnon, a New Age cult. These religions are all New Age, end times, sometimes doomsday. You don't have to call them cults, but they rely on prophecy. We're talking about the foundation of Judaism, the evangelical, reborn Christian, Armageddon view of the world, and as far as QAnon, the draining of the swamp and the Great Awakening. This is over a quarter of the United States population is evangelical, and a great number of them believe that all of the Jews need to be returned to Israel, in which case, at which time, Jesus will appear on the Mount of Olives. Let me play you a little bit more from that same pastor. Armageddon now, and you can see a night to honor Israel at this church.
This may be the most important prophetic spot in the entire Bible, because the final act of the book of Revelation is going to begin right here at this place. The Bible teaches that Russia, Iran, Ethiopia, Libya, Turkey, and other nations will come down under a UN flag, and they will invade Israel at this particular point.
That was from a Vice documentary talking about this exact topic, these evangelicals and their support of Israel. They believe that end times prophecy will come true once all of the Jews are returned to Israel, and because of that they support settlements. At that time, 2/3 of the Jews will be wiped out, will be killed, and then the remaining 1/3 will convert to Christianity. They will be saved. That's how they see the end. The Jews who believe in their own end times, when they, rule the world from Jerusalem, and the nations of the world, sometimes called the Goyim, will submit to super state that starts in Jerusalem that is run by Jews. The Jews and the Christians in this case are simply convenient allies, and then they ally themselves to Donald Trump. Donald Trump allies himself to them because he needs the votes and the money. This is Mike Pence talking about how important the evangelicals were to the election of Donald Trump as president.
And I'm really here on the president's behalf and on our entire team's behalf to pay a debt of gratitude to all of you who helped elect a president who is fighting every single day to defend faith, restore freedom, and strengthen America's unbreakable bond with our most cherished ally, Israel.
For Zion's sake, we will not be silent. Let me tell you a little bit more about evangelical support for Donald Trump and this guy, Pastor Hagee, what he thinks of Donald Trump becoming president. And then we're going to talk about the anti-BDS movement, which is at the forefront of that anti-BDS movement is Christians United for Israel. Here's Pastor Hagee, who interprets prophecy from the Bible, talking about the election of Donald Trump.
I believe that Mr. Trump broke out of the pack of all of those Republican candidates when he started supporting Israel. He started making very bold statements that he would be the defender of Israel, that he would move the embassy from Tel Aviv to Jerusalem, that he would be a defender of Israel. And that's when he started going up in the polls. I believe that's when God Almighty got involved in this electoral process and appointed him by the very supernatural power of heaven, because the Bible says the Lord raises up a leader and God puts down a leader. And there, everyone is saying there's a supernatural element. I assure you that when Donald Trump started saying good things about Israel, the winds of heaven got behind his political sails and pushed him right to the White House.
Yeah. This is a clip here from the Friends of Zion Museum. I'll go ahead and play that too. This is about a Friends of Zion award being presented to Donald Trump. A little bit of who runs U.S. policy, why Donald Trump is so friendly towards Israel, not only because of his friendship personally with Netanyahu, but also because of this kind of support. This is from the Friends of Zion.
My name is Mike Evans. I'm the founder of the Friends of Zion Museum in Jerusalem. And this award was commissioned by the 9th President of the State of Israel, Shimon Peres, to recognize a leader, global leader, with courage to stand with the nation of Israel and the Jewish people. We believe no American president in history has done more to defend the Jewish people in the United Nations, globally. And the recognition of Jerusalem, we believe, is a strategic step that will bring peace. We believe it's the soul of the heart of the Jewish people. And this president has stood up with courage and integrity, and we are honored to recognize him for his support.
All right. We're talking about influence in politics. Nikki Haley, ambassador to the UN, is one of the people that is regularly appears at these CUFI summits, along with Vice President Mike Pence, along with Senator Lindsey Graham, Senator Marco Rubio. These are all regular attendees. And I suggest it's politically convenient. It's politically convenient. It pays well to support Israel.
What's amazing about Christians United for Israel is not just the power of your voice, it's also the importance of the cause you have dedicated your voice to. We live in a world in which terrorist groups and even some countries openly call for Israel's destruction. On many college campuses, the anti-Semitic BDS movement has become a trendy cause for students and professors who should know better. Standing up against this global pressure campaign on Israel and the Jewish people goes to the heart of our friendship and the heart of America. And the tip of the spear is Christians United for Israel.
Since we're talking about the anti-BDS movement, let me give you the pitch on that from one of their lawyers. We've seen some of the tactics used by the Jewish Zionist organizations, but the lobbying of our government takes place to a large extent with this Christian group and other evangelical Christian groups. This is regarding the quote-unquote anti-Semitic BDS movement.
I'm also here as a member of the board of directors of Christians United for Israel, the largest pro-Israel organization in the United States, and one that has worked very hard on this legislation. The reason why we come out in support of SB 26 is because the BDS movement is fundamentally an anti-Semitic movement and one that endangers peace in the Middle East.
They will every time refer to it as an anti-Semitic movement. And actually, let me show you. This is from kufi.org. They pronounce it Kufi, C-U-F-I, Kufi, Christians United for Israel. This is from their website. The effort to boycott, divest, and sanction Israel is an anti-Semitic movement whose end goal is the destruction of the Jewish state. BDS activists have repeatedly acknowledged that, quote, the real aim of BDS is to bring down the state of Israel, unquote. This says Kufi is beating them at every turn and has the video embedded, which I just played you a clip from. There are talking points, context. Legislators have limited time and virtually unlimited agenda. So they will often ask, why pass this legislation now? They say the answer is simple. One does not wait to lock their doors until after they've been robbed. The anti-Semitic BDS movement is seeking to infect the American economy. As leader among the states, Texas should lead on this issue of both local and national importance. And guess what? Texas did lead on the issue. In terms of legislative success, the Christian pro-Israel group, one of the main things they pushed was something called the Taylor Force Act, which took money away from the Palestinian Authority. Allegedly, or the reason they gave for taking that money away, was because they said the Palestinian Authority supports families where someone in their family was accused of terrorism or was a terrorist or killed an Israeli Jew or something like that. They claimed the Palestinian Authority was supporting those families. I actually don't know if that's truly the case or not. But it was given as the reason, because this guy Taylor Force that got killed in Israel apparently by a Palestinian terrorist. The Taylor Force Act was one of the primary goals of this group, Christians United for Israel. And this is a story about the pro-Israel group lobbying to cut funding to the Palestinians, July 17th, 2017. And then here's a story from 2018 where the Trump administration went ahead and cut more than $200 million in aid for Palestinians because of the passage of that Taylor Force Act, which you hear talked about in some of these Kufi conferences. Now, I told you about QAnon. The reason I told you about QAnon was because I got some information that maybe it was targeted at evangelical Christians, and that it was a Zionist kind of Mossad type of operation meant to give cover for the war in Israel. War on Iran, which, that kind of was borne out about the war in Iran, because Q did call for regime change in Iran. So then the evangelical part, and I wanted to know what Netanyahu's relationship was with the evangelicals, and I wanted to know if maybe that was true, because it was kind of a God-focused, Christian-focused, New Age, it was really about a New Age, same kind of religion to it. So that's why I started looking into this subject. So here's what Netanyahu thinks. This is Netanyahu with Mike Huckabee on his show, talking about how much Netanyahu appreciates the Christian support, the Christian evangelical support.
How important is the evangelical support for Israel to the government, to the people, in terms of knowing that there is a non-negotiable attitude among evangelicals that Israel is our ally and our friend, and we're going to stand with them?
Well, I'll answer in two ways. It's from a practical point of view, it's hugely important, obviously. There is a community of people that we can always rely on as the greatest allies, and they come through
every single time. Every single time. Every single time. Netanyahu cares. I have a clip of Netanyahu, and I think we'll close it up with this. This is Netanyahu, apparently without a microphone, emphatically giving us support for Christians United.
Thank you, Pastor Hagee. Thank you, Kufi, for supporting Israel. We appreciate your support, and we thank you for it. We appreciate the support of Christians around the world. Jews, Christians, so many others can agree on one thing. Israel is a miracle.
If by miracle you mean fill in the blank. That was a rabbit hole I went down. I wanted to collect all the information for you and put it together in something coherent so you can look at it. It's also something to pay attention to. I haven't seen it on the radar a lot of other places. Something to think about. Thanks for joining me for this show. Thanks everybody who joined me on YouTube and on Twitch. I'll go over to Twitch in case anybody wants to give us any phone calls. That's at twitch.tv/lifttheveil411. You can also find these shows on a podcast by looking up Lift the Veil anywhere podcasts are given away. In case notifications don't appear, if you download that Twitch app and find Lift the Veil and follow me and have your notifications on, that you do always get notifications from Twitch. So that is a way around the system that failed us over the last couple of days. From me and Doshi, that is what it is.